Gautam Adani is well on his way to becoming the richest man on earth. According to the Bloomberg Billionaires Index, billionaire Gautam Adani surpassed Amazon founder Jeff Bezos to claim the title of the second richest person in the world. Adani, whose net worth is $147 billion, is second only to Elon Musk, the founder of Tesla, who has a net worth of $264 billion. According to figures from Bloomberg, Bezos' net worth has decreased by $45.5 billion so far this year, while Adani's wealth has increased by $70.3 billion. Bezos' net worth has decreased since the beginning of the year as a result of the dramatic loss in the tech-heavy Nasdaq index, which has fallen over 20% year-to-date. In contrast, Adani's fortune has increased as a result of the rapid speed of expansion being experienced by his group enterprises. Adani Group of Industries has expanded its operations into a number of industries, including media, telecom, cement, and renewable energy. The Adani Group said in September that it has successfully acquired Ambuja Cement and ACC Limited, making it the second largest cement player in the nation. According to a statement, the Adani family completed the acquisition through their special purpose business Endeavour Trade and Investment Limited after concluding the deal with the Swiss company Holcim through an open offer. According to the statement, this is the largest acquisition by Adani and the largest merger and acquisition deal in India's history in the infrastructure and materials sector. The value of the Holcim interest and open offer consideration for Ambuja Cement and ACC is $6.5 billion. Adani has also promised to invest $70 billion in renewable energy, making him the largest producer in the world. So how will Adani become the richest man on earth? Well, at the heart of his business is M&As, mergers and acquisitions. The phones of journalists in New Delhi began to ring with messages on a late August evening that the Indian billionaire Gautam Adani has just made a hostile takeover offer for a significant broadcaster in the city. The infrastructure tycoon is renowned for making risky and pricey acquisitions in a variety of industries. His plans to acquire New Delhi Television, or NDTV, however, caused Indian media to quiver and rekindled concerns about the loss of editorial freedom in the largest democracy in the world. This is due to the fact that NDTV, one of the few remaining big Indian networks, frequently criticizes Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the ruling Bharatiya Janata Party, or BJP. Adani, who's 60, is regarded as one of Modi's closest economic allies. Investors' responses were significantly more positive. In the days that followed the news, NDTV stock increased by more than 50%. Markets have been supporting the businessman and his quick expansion since the pandemic's start. They are betting on the ability of the self-made industrialist to increase his activities in the sectors Modi has prioritized for development. Where Adani has been incredibly astute is that he has tied his own economic aspirations with the interests of India and the interests of the Prime Minister of India, says Tim Buckley, director of Sydney-based research tank Climate Energy Finance. Data from Refinitiv shows that shares in Adani's 7 publicly traded companies have increased between 10% and 260% since the year's start, with a majority of them approximately doubling in value over the past 9 months. These businesses work in a variety of sectors, including ports and power plants. According to James Crabtree, Executive Director of the International Institute for Strategic Studies in Asia and the author of the book The Billionaire Raj about the wealthy in India, Adani's recipe for success combines excellent project execution with a high degree of debt. Amazingly, the billionaire reached the top of the super-rich ladder so swiftly. In 2020, when the pandemic first appeared, Adani's fortune was pegged at roughly $13 billion. He now has a $147 billion net worth after 2 years. It all started 30 years ago, when he started Adani Group, which is where a large portion of his wealth is invested. The company, with a projected worth of $220 billion, has established businesses in a number of recent success stories, from mining to logistics. And Adani has no intention of slowing down. In fact, it has begun an astounding expansion blitzkrieg, entering a variety of industries, including media, data centers, airports, and cement. Even in India, where the number of the super rich has increased significantly, Crabtree said of the man's wealth accumulation history, "It is unique and unusual, but there's a major risk associated with this increase. Adani's company is now among the most indebted in the country as a result of the $30 billion borrowing binge he undertook to fund his economic juggernaut. particularly at a time when interest rates are rising globally. Analysts are concerned. Since May, India's benchmark interest rate has hiked 4 times, reaching 5.9%. Additionally, worries include the claim that his success was largely a result of crony capitalism and the uncertainty surrounding the viability of his empire in the event of a change in power in New Delhi. Turbocharged growth. Adani, a college dropout, has occasionally been compared to corporate moguls from America's Gilded Age, who established enormous monopoly corporations in the 1800s, such as John D. Rockefeller or Cornelius Vanderbilt. Adani, a first-generation businessman, started out by trading diamonds before establishing a commodity trading company in 1988. This company then changed its name to Adani Enterprises Limited, or AEL. Soon after, India started making groundbreaking changes that accelerated its economic growth, and Adani's riches increased along with it. The first of his businesses to debut on the Mumbai Stock Exchange was AEL in 1994. A year later, Adani began running the Mundra port in Gujarat, where both the industrialist and Modi were born and raised in Western India. The nation's largest commercial port by volume, Mundra Port is frequently referred to as the group's crown jewel. AEL serves as a business incubator for Adani. When they are fully developed, they're spun out, frequently by way of a public market listing. Numerous Adani enterprises have become as dominant figures in their respective industries. He's also the owner of India's biggest private thermal power generator and operator of private ports. In addition to being one of the biggest coal mine developers and owners in India, he also runs the contentious Carmichael coal mine in Australia, which has drawn heated criticism from environmentalists who claim it will be a death sentence to the Great Barrier Reef. Adani has elevated himself to the top position in key industries through wise investments. Adani became the nation's second largest cement manufacturer after Holcim paid $6.4 billion to acquire its Indian cement division. Despite having no prior experience in the field, he recently rose to become India's largest airport operator by primarily acquiring airports through a government privatization program. Although the tycoon's empire is based on fossil fuels, he's also investing enormous sums of money in clean energy, an aim that is consistent with India's long-term climate aspirations. The billionaire, his family, and related businesses own a majority of the Adani empire's businesses, including roughly 75% of the shares in AEL, Adani Power, and Adani Transmissions. Additionally, he's forged alliances with significant international corporations, including leading joint ventures with Total Energies, a French energy company, and Wilmar International, a Singaporean agribusiness organization. Having followed Adani for 10 years, Buckley remarked, "He buys monopoly assets and runs them incredibly well. The tycoon's ambitious expansion, according to some analysts, may even be hazardous." The House of Debt. Concerns over Adani's debt-financed expansion are nothing new. Adani Group has one of 10 Indian conglomerates that Credit Suisse warned were under increasing financial stress as a result of their borrowings in a 2015 research titled House of Debt. The Adani Group has still carried on raising billions from global and Indian banks. The gross debt of Adani Group has climbed over the previous 5 years from 1 trillion rupees, about $12 billion, to 2.6 trillion rupees, approximately $32 billion, according to a Credit Suisse analysis dated September. In August, Credit Sites, a research company owned by Fitch Group, released a study titled Deeply Overleveraged regarding Adani Group, in which it voiced grave worries. Lakshmanan R., Rohan Kapoor, and Jonathan Tan, analysts, cautioned that the group ran the risk of becoming overstretched and said they continue to be cautiously wary of its thirst for growth. The worst-case scenario for 2 ambitious debt-funded expansion plans, they continued, may eventually spiral into a major debt trap and possibly result in a distressed position or default of one or more group firms. In a 15-page study in response, Adani Group stated that over the past 9 years, its company's leverage ratios have consistently deleveraged and remain to be healthy and are in line with the industry benchmarks in the various industries. Later, the analysts at Credit Sites updated some of the data, but they also stated that their views have not altered from its original analysis. Powerful political connections. Some detractors, including major Indian opposition politicians and journalists, have asserted that Adani's closeness to Modi has aided in the latter's stratospheric rise. The businessman was faithful to Modi, according to Crabtree, who noted this in his 2018 book. The two were believed to get along well, and Adani even defended Modi when horrific religious riots in the Gujarat in 2002 left more than 1,000 people dead, the majority of them Muslims. At the time, critics charged Modi with ignoring the murders. Rivals also questioned Modi's usage of Adani planes during his 2014 election campaign for Prime Minister. The billionaire claimed that none of the private planes were used for free in an interview with the Economic Times, denying that the arrangement was improper in any way. Over the years, any allegations of favoritism have been refuted by both the industrialist and the ruling party. According to some experts, Adani's empire has grown to the point where it cannot collapse and won't be impacted by any change in power in New Delhi. Do you really want to piss on the third richest man in the world if you're the newly elected Prime Minister of India? At Climate Energy Finance, Buckley said, India, the world's largest economy with the quickest rate of growth, needs people like Adani, he continued. According to Buckley, they can access global finance at a scale that India needs to fuel expansion of its economy. There is every chance that Adani spends the rest of his life erasing his legacy, like John D. Rockefeller did, now that he is the most powerful man in Asia. We hope you've learned a few things about the potential new richest man in the world. Thanks for watching.